Janome.
Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Raven Maureen, and today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute and quick top. You guys are going to love it. At the same time, this top, not only is it quick, it's a scrap busting project. So if you've got a yard of cotton sateen, which is what I used here, or if you've got a yard of maybe some quilting fabric that you love, something that's going to work really well with shearing, then I definitely recommend that you try this project. So here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need about a yard of fabric. You're also going to need some elastic thread, and you're gonna need obviously your sewing machine. So a few things about this project. I actually got some inspo from Pinterest, and I just kind of went for it. So honestly, I started out with the idea like, okay, I'm gonna have straps, and then I was like, you know what, I don't like the cow print straps, and then I was like, let me do black straps, and then I ended up with no straps. So I hope you guys understand, and I actually left in the part about the straps in case you do want to add straps to your top, but it is totally not necessary. So let's go ahead and get started. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna measure around the fullest part of your bust, and then what you wanna do is you wanna measure about how long you want your top to be. So I believe I did 21 inches, but I started literally at the top of my bust, in my high bust area, and I just measured down, and I believe I went down to 21. This covers my entire torso. However, if you want yours to be shorter, then go for it. Okay, so I'm gonna show you just how to wind your bobbin with this elastic thread. Again, I got this off of Amazon. I'm gonna link it for you guys. But you wanna grab one of your empty bobbins, if you guys can see that. You're going to start by threading the top of your bobbin, just like you normally would if you were going to start this at the machine. And I've heard of people actually doing it at the machine. I personally don't like that. I find that the bobbin can either become jammed or it'll be too tight, and you just want to hand wind that. But you want to make sure that it's not so tightly wound that once you get it on the machine it's going to jam up, but you also don't want to make it so loose that it starts to unravel before you're done winding it up. When I'm working on a large shearing project, like if I have to shear a whole bodice, I'll wind about 2 or 3 bobbins at a time, because you can run through these kind of quickly. So before we get started, I'm actually going to do a single fold hem on my top and bottom of my bodice piece. If you don't have a serger, you can just do a double fold hem, so that way you have a clean finish. Okay, so now we're gonna get started on our shearing. So go ahead and put your bobbin that has the elastic thread in the bobbin holder, and you're gonna pull that slack all the way to here, but you're not going to cut it. Starting at the top of your bodice, you are going to measure down 1 inch, or really you can go to your sewing machine and do a 1 inch seam allowance from the edge of this, and you're going to stitch 2 rows of your shearing. We get on our second row of shearing, and again you want this to be about a 1/2 inch away from that first stitch that you made. Perfect. Okay, so we did our 2 stitches, which look perfect, and the way you could tell that this was a perfect shearing was that there is no rippling here. This is all a straight elastic back here. If you notice that it's ripply, like the actual elastic is ripply, then you know it's too loose. If you never get past the first couple stitches, then you know that your tension is too tight. So this is actually a perfect example of how your shearing should look on the back side. So at the edge of your fabric where you know that you're going to start shearing again, you want to mark down from where just underneath your bust. Mine was 9 inches. Make sure you hold this up to yourself in the mirror and you check for yourself on yourself what that looks like, but mine was 9 inches, and I'm going to mark that, and then I'm going to start shearing again. And again, I'm going to do 2 rows and then we're going to stop. Hey guys, so we are like literally almost done with this project. So honestly, this is what you do. I just like try on as I go with shearing, because you want to make sure that one, you are hitting that bust area exactly where you want it. So I've already done my 2 rows of stitching. Sorry y'all, my battery died in the middle of filming that part, but I did want to show you guys that it does fall right underneath my bust area. And what you're going to do is you're going to mark 2 inches down further from the last shearing that you did, and then we're going to stitch 2 rows, and then we're going to come back to our table and do another fitting. Okay, so now we're going to do a second stitch underneath this one, again a 1/2 inch away, to keep with the consistency. So I'm going to go another 2 inches down and add another row, another 2 rows actually, and then I should actually be done with my bodice. So I do have a bit of excess of fabric, which is why you want to make like a tubular or a cylinder like, or like one long piece of fabric in case you do have a little bit extra. Depending on the fabric that you choose and depending on your sewing machine settings, you could either end up with some excess or you may not end up with some excess. So it's always good to use 1.5 times your bust. So I've trimmed my edges down, and I'm gonna go ahead and sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then I'm gonna serge the edges. And by the way, I've also changed back to my my normal bobbin at this point. Okay, so now we're going to work on our straps. I've already done one. You're going to press these strips in half. You're going to sew them at 1/4 or 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then you're going to feed it through your looper, and then you're going to tie a knot at one end. Okay, go ahead and take your looper. This is like a tool that you can get at any craft store. You want to go ahead and loop it through your strap, and what you want is for that hook piece right there to latch onto the top. So you want it to hook into the fabric like that around the top, not too far down, but just enough so that way when you are pulling it through, it doesn't unhook itself. So then you gently, I do mean gently, just glide it on through. And notice that that hook has stayed in place. So we are finished with our top, and anytime you are working with anything that's like sheared, or you're working on a shearing project, I guess you can call it, you want to make sure that you have some steam. So you're just going to gently press it over those seams that you finished. Well, you guys, I hope you all love this tutorial. I hope you give this shirt a try. I cannot wait to see all that you come up with. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!